Part 1, The Familiar Faces. The air hung heavy with the scent of freshly baked bread and the soft murmur of conversation. It was Wednesday, which meant it was bingo night at the Willow Creek Senior Center. Clyde, a man with a twinkle in his eye and a shock of white hair, sat at his usual table, his fingers tapping rhythmically on the worn wooden surface. He was surrounded by familiar faces, each with their own stories to tell, their own memories to share. There was Mrs. Gill, a woman with a mischievous glint in her eye, who always seemed to have a joke ready. She was a master of the quick wit and could turn any situation into a humorous anecdote. Across from her sat Mr. Hills, a quiet man with a kind heart and a deep love for poetry. He would often recite verses from his favorite poets, his voice soft and soothing. Next to him sat Janice, a woman with a vibrant personality and a love for all things bright and colorful. She was a walking rainbow, her clothes always a kaleidoscope of hues, her jewelry sparkling like 1,000 stars. And then there was Buddy Phillip, a man with a booming laugh and a mischievous grin. He was always the life of the party, his stories filled with humor and exaggeration. Clyde, however, was a man of quiet contemplation. He enjoyed the company of his friends, but he often found himself lost in thought, reflecting on the past and wondering about the future. He had a kind heart and a gentle soul, but he was also a man of few words. He preferred to observe, to listen, and to learn from the experiences of others. He had a quiet strength about him, a sense of resilience that had been forged through years of hard work and perseverance. He had always been a man of action, a man who believed in the power of hard work and the importance of family. He had a strong work ethic, instilled in him by his father, a hard-working farmer who had taught him the value of honest labor. Fate, a woman with a heart of gold and a laugh that could light up a room, was seated next to him. "Clyde," she said, her voice a gentle melody, "you seem lost in thought. What are you pondering?" Clyde smiled, a nostalgic look in his eyes. "I was just thinking about Janice. You know, the girl who lived next door to us on Maple Street?" Fate's eyes widened. "Janice. Oh, Clyde, I haven't thought about her in years. What a wonderful memory." Clyde nodded, his thoughts drifting back to a time long ago. He remembered Janice's bright smile, her infectious laughter, and the way she always seemed to bring sunshine into their lives. They had been inseparable as children, sharing secrets, building forts, and dreaming of the future. They would spend hours in Janice's backyard, under the shade of the old oak tree, their imaginations weaving tales of pirates and princesses, cowboys and Indians. A hush fell over the room as the other seniors watched, their faces filled with a mixture of curiosity and wonder. Mrs. Gill, always the first to break the silence, leaned over to Buddy Phillip and whispered, "Well, I'll be. It's Janice. I haven't seen her since she was a little girl." Buddy Phillip chuckled. "She sure has grown up. And look at Clyde, all handsome as ever." Part 3, Rekindled Memories. Clyde and Janice sat down together, their laughter filling the room as they reminisced about their childhood, their shared dreams, and the adventures they had experienced. The bingo game faded into the background, their reunion taking center stage. Janice told Clyde about her life. She had married a man, a kind and gentle soul, and they had 2 children, Kwamina and Serafina. She had worked as a teacher for many years, sharing her love of learning with generations of children. She told Clyde about her travels, her adventures, and the joys and sorrows she had experienced. She spoke of her time in Paris, where she had fallen in love with the city's art and culture. She described the vibrant colors of the Siena countryside, where she had spent a summer with her family, learning about Italian history and cuisine. She spoke of her travels to Africa, where she had been touched by the warmth and generosity of the people. She told Clyde about her passion for music, her love for classical piano, and her dream of one day opening a music school for underprivileged children. Clyde listened intently, his heart filled with a mix of happiness and sadness. He was happy to hear about her life, but he couldn't help but feel a pang of regret for the years they had lost. He thought about his own life, his career, his family, and he wondered if he had made the right choices. He had always been content with his life, but now, seeing Janice and hearing about her adventures, he felt a twinge of longing for something more, something different. He had always been a man of action, a man who believed in the power of hard work and the importance of family. Part 4: A Shared Future. As the evening drew to a close, Clyde and Janice walked out of the senior center, their arms linked, their hearts filled with joy. They had found each other again, their connection rekindled after years of separation. The unexpected reunion had brought a sense of peace and contentment, a reminder that even after all these years, the bonds of friendship could endure the passage of time. They promised to stay in touch, to visit each other often, and to make up for all the lost time. As they walked, they talked about their plans for the future, their hopes and dreams. Clyde felt a sense of renewal, a renewed sense of purpose. He had found a piece of his past, and he was determined to make the most of the future. He knew that he would never forget Janice, and he was grateful for the unexpected reunion that had brought them back together. They walked along the quiet street, the setting sun casting long shadows across the pavement. Janice pointed to a small, brick house on the corner. "That's where I lived when I was a child," she said, her voice filled with nostalgia. "It's changed so much since then." Clyde smiled. "It's still the same to me," he said, his eyes filled with warmth. "I can still see you playing in the backyard, your laughter echoing through the air." They stopped at a park bench and sat down, the soft glow of the streetlights illuminating their faces. Clyde reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, worn photograph. "This was taken the day your family moved away," he said, handing the photo to Janice. "I've kept it all these years." Janice took the photo, her eyes welling up with tears. She looked at the image of herself, a young girl with a bright smile and a mischievous glint in her eye. She could still see the joy in her eyes, the innocence of her childhood. "Thank you, Clyde," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "This means so much to me." Part 5: A Renewed Purpose. They sat in silence for a while, lost in their memories, their hearts filled with a mix of joy and sadness. As the evening deepened, they walked back to the senior center, their arms linked, their spirits lifted by the unexpected reunion. They knew that their lives had taken them on different paths, but they also knew that the bond they shared would always remain. They had found each other again. Clyde and Janice continued to meet regularly, their friendship rekindled and stronger than ever. They shared stories of their lives, their families, their hopes and dreams. They went on walks together, visited museums and art galleries, and enjoyed the simple pleasures of life. They found a shared love for classical music, attending concerts together and listening to recordings of their favorite composers. They also shared a love for reading, discussing books and sharing their favorite authors. Clyde, inspired by Janice's passion for music and her dream of opening a music school, decided to use his carpentry skills to help her realize her dream. He volunteered to build furniture for the school, designing and crafting custom pieces that would be both functional and beautiful. He also helped Janice to raise funds for the school, using his connections in the community to organize fundraising events. Janice, in turn, encouraged Clyde to pursue his own creative passions. She reminded him of his love for woodworking, his talent for creating beautiful and functional objects. She encouraged him to build furniture for his own home, to create pieces that would reflect his unique style and personality. She also suggested that he take up painting, a hobby he had always enjoyed but had never had the time to pursue. Part 6: The Enduring Bond. Together, Clyde and Janice found a new purpose in their lives, a shared passion for making a difference in the world. They supported each other's dreams, encouraging each other to pursue their passions and to live life to the fullest. They had found a sense of belonging, a sense of community, and a sense of purpose that had been missing from their lives for so long. As the years passed, Clyde and Janice's friendship grew even stronger. They became each other's confidants, their support system, their source of inspiration. They had found a connection that transcended time and distance, a bond that had been forged in childhood and had endured the passage of years. They had found each other again, and they were grateful for the unexpected reunion that had brought them back together. The end.